Good morning, students. Today we shall discuss about transpiration pull theory. And myself, Dr. P. P. Mallikarjuna, Associate Professor, Government First Grade College, Lanka, Bangalore. Today we shall discuss about transpiration pull theory. Well, in this we'll discuss about little bit about introduction to mechanism of ascent of sap, the transpiration pull theory, a very important physical theory for ascent of sap, characters of transpiration pull, evidences of transpiration pull theory. So mechanism of ascent of sap, which includes ascent of sap is the translocation of water and dissolved minerals ions from the root to the various parts of the plant body through the xylem. Due to the differential pressure gradients across the plant body, the ascent of sap takes place. Further, it occurs against the gravitational force. Well, the xylem dead cells are trachea elements, namely tracheids and vessels are involving in the ascent of sap. Well, this picture briefly explains how the ascent of sap is taking place from the root portion to the aerial parts through the stem and other branches, especially through the dead tissue called xylem. And here you can see three important phenomena are connected to each other. So this is here in the leaf region, transpiration takes place, which creates a pressure, and that is known as transpiration pull. Transpiration pull is pulling the water from the root region to the aerial parts through the stem and other aerial branches having of the water conducting tissue called xylem, having the properties of adhesion, cohesion, which makes the water column as a continuous one. Well, in this root region, the pull also is responsible as well as ascent of also responsible for the absorption of water from the soil by the roots, that is by active absorption and passive absorption. So therefore, if you want to understand the complete picture about the soil plant water relations, one must have the basic concept understanding of the soil plant atmosphere continuum, which is also known as SPAC concept. So here this entire process is taking place because of the pressure gradient across the plant body. And also one must know the basics about the water potential and its components. Then only we can understand transpiration pull very clearly. So transpiration pull theory. This theory was for ascent of sap proposed by Dixon and Joly way back 1894. In the same time, Ashkenazi also discovered this process in 1895. This theory is also known as Dixon-Joly theory or cohesion tension theory, and it is widely accepted theory for ascent of sap. Well, this theory was supported by several physiologists, but some of them are Renner, Curtis and Clark, Kramer and Kozlowski, Milburn and Johnson, and Levitt by providing experimental evidences. Well, this is the xylem vessels and tracheids which are responsible for the ascending of water and mineral nutrients from the root region to the various aerial parts, especially to the leaves. Well, here this theory is mainly consisting of three features, namely presence of continuous water column, occurrence of cohesion and adhesion or tensile strength, and development of tension or transpiration pull. And the first diagram explains us how the transpiration process by which the water loss is taking place from the mesophilous tissue or of the leaf, creating a pull or a tension, and that is what you call transpiration pull, which is coming down until to the root region. In turn, there is a upward movement of the water molecule by indicating pink arrows, explaining both are operating in opposite directions, creating resulting in the uplift or ascending of the water and mineral nutrients. So this is the physical theory, and which is in explaining how the transpiration pull pulling the water from the beaker, like a, as you see, general evaporation uh, through porous part, which is also sucking the water to the aerial parts. So this is how the evaporation and transpiration pull is responsible. Like evaporation, transpiration pull is responsible for the upliftment of the water in the from the beaker. Well, coming to the presence of continuous water column, the characters of the ascent of sap, there is a continuous column of water from the root through the stem into the leaves. It is present in the xylem trachea elements. This water column is usually present in the xylem region, especially in the tracheids and vessels. The water column does not fall down under the impact of gravity because forces of transpiration provide both energy and necessary pull. The water column present in the different xylem vessels is independent but laterally connected. In other words, the whole water present in the plant body, that is from a root tip to shoot tip, is a single continuous column. Another character or property of cohesion tension theory is having of cohesion adhesion or tensile strength. The water molecules remain attached to one another by a strong mutual force of attraction called cohesion force. And this force is due to the presence of intermolecular hydrogen bonds. On account of this, the water column can bear a tension up to 100 atmospheres. Therefore, the cohesion force is also known as tensile strength. Its theoretical value is about 15,000 atmospheres, but the measured value inside the trachea elements ranges from 45 to 207 atmospheres. Water column does not further break down in the trachea elements because of the presence of another force called adhesion force between their walls and water molecules. Further, the presence of hydrogen bonds among the water molecules exerts surface tension that accounts for high capillarity through tracheids and vessels. Coming to the last character of the cohesion tension theory or transpiration pull theory is that the development of tension or transpiration pull. Presence of intercellular spaces in the mesophyll tissue of the leaves are always saturated with water vapors. These spaces are connected to outside air through the stomata. Outside air is seldom saturated with water vapor. It has a lower water potential than the moist air present inside the leaf. Therefore, the water vapors diffuse out of the leaves. The mesophyll cells continue to lose water to the intercellular spaces. As a result, the curvature of the meniscus holding water increases, resulting in an increase in surface tension and a decrease in water potential, sometimes up to 30 bars. The mesophyll cells withdraw water from the deeper cells as its molecules are held together by hydrogen bonds. The deeper cells in turn obtain water from the trachea elements. The water in trachea elements would come under tension that is known as negative hydrostatic pressure. A similar tension is felt in millions of trachea elements lying adjacent to the transpiring cells. The tension of 1 atmosphere is sufficient to pull the water to a height of about 10 meters. Further, a tension of 10 to 20 atmospheres is sufficient to raise the water to the height of the tallest trees with 130 meters height. Like in Sequoia sempervirens, which is the tallest gymnosperm, and Eucalyptus regnans, the tallest angiosperm. So this diagram explains the entire conceptual basis of the ascent of sap, and here you can see this is the whole plant approach, and here this region is the what you call the pressure water potential gradient values. See our outside or the out is having more pressure, what you call water potential value, negative value, whereas in the root region less negative value. So the pressure gradient is see very high here, and here you can see this sectional portion. This is the leaf region, and it is the stem region, and it is the root region, and all three are having the how the water molecules are moving from the soil particles into the root region, and from root region to the stem region, having of, as you know, different phenomena. And you can see three important physiological processes which are interconnected, and that is how the transpiration pull is the transpiration which is creating a pull is responsible for the ascending of water and mineral nutrients to the aerial parts, and in turn the pressure which is creating is responsible for the absorption of the water from the soil by the roots. So this is about the transpiration pull, and this transpiration pull overcomes the gravitational pull, and it whatever the resistance which is created by the living cells of the root, it also overcomes the resistance within the tracheal elements, also overcomes. And a very important character is that in certain xylem cells like tracheids and vessels, the air bubble formation is a common phenomenon which is also known as cavitation or embolism. And this may create some resistance. That resistance also overcomes by the transpiration pull theory. And here you can see the air bubble formed here, also here, and the water is uh, bidirected to the lateral functioning cells. They were avoiding the air bubble, and the water column is a continuous one. So this is uh, the transpiration pull overcomes from gravity and from resistances and also air bubbles. Well, there are several evidences for the transpiration pull in the plants. Well, first one is known as measurement of tension in xylem sap indicates adequate amount of pressure to lift the water till the tip of the tall trees as carried out by Scolander using a pressure bomb method. It is a physical process and does not involve metabolic energy. The tensile strength of xylem sap is in the region of 25 to 300 atmospheres, which is sufficient to withstand any force that attempts to break it. Further, Kramer and Kozlowski made dendrographic measurements of tree trunks and showed that the diurnal variation of the girth. There is decrease during the daytime because of shrinkage of cells. This shrinkage is due to water loss and the resultant tension in the xylem elements. So to sum up this one, ascent of sap is the translocation of water and nutrients through the tracheal elements of xylem from root to leaf. So Dixon and Jolly theory which is also known as transpiration pull theory, is a well explained theory for ascent of sap, and the lumen of trachea elements is involved in this process. And the important characters are cohesion and adhesion of water molecules due to hydrogen bonds is a very important feature of the transpiration pull theory. Another one, transpiration, which is taking place in the leaf region, creating a tension in the xylem in the vicinity of mesophyll cells. That tension or transpiration pull is sending to the root region, which is allowing the ascending of water from a root tip to shoot tip. So this is about ascent of sap. Thank you. On and up.